Hi, my name is Rena, and my pop culture video is on Bram Stoker's Dracula. So I'm just going to read what I wrote. Okay, so Bram Stoker's Dracula is a romance, not a horror film. Let's talk about it. But first, a little backstory on vampires is that Count Orlok was one of the first vampires in the movie Nosferatu in 1922. The character was hideous with white sickly skin, bald head, bulging eyes, and utterly terrifying appearance, representing horror. The film, the first Bram Stoker's Dracula, came out on Valentine's Day in 1931. That makes this pop culture classic 95 years old. So when you thought of vampires, you picture that white skin, scary eyes, and fangs. But in Bram Stoker's version, he turned the character into a handsome, mysterious, aristocratic gentleman. In the beginning, the movie shows that Dracula was a fierce warrior prince, and his princess was Elisabetta. While the prince was out impaling the enemy, Elisabetta receives a letter that said her prince was slain in battle. Overcome with grief, she wrote a note saying, "All is lost without him. May God unite us in heaven." And she jumped off the highest tower in the castle into the river to her death. Her love for him was undying, and her suicide was a symbol of eternal devotion beyond time or circumstance. So in her mind, there was no life without him. She chose death, not only to die, but to go to hell because they were devout Christians. And in Christian faith, committing suicide damns your soul to hell, meaning she killed herself for love. So when Dracula returns from war and finds his princess Elisabetta dead, he immediately is inconsolable. He renounces his faith and curses God, and vows to revenge her death with all the powers of darkness. In the 2025 Dracula version movie, Dracula kills a priest, saying, "Tell your God, until he brings back my wife, my life no longer belongs to him." The fact that Dracula cursed God and renounces his faith because of her death shows his conviction of love for the princess. The movie then leaps forward in time. The character Jonathan goes to work for Count Dracula so he can earn money to propose to his love Mina. Well, when he arrives, he meets Dracula, and his appearance was a very elderly, sickly man, seemed very undead. Jonathan drops a picture of Mina, so Dracula picks it up, and Mina is a spitting image of his dead love, Princess Elisabetta. So Dracula was going to feed on Jonathan, but now he had a new motive, and that was to find Mina. Dracula commanded his demon concubines to molest Jonathan and drain his blood so he would be so weak he couldn't escape. At first, Jonathan thought they were dreams, but then he realized Dracula's plan was he was being held prisoner so that Dracula could go and get Mina. Meanwhile, Mina's writing letters to Jonathan, not getting a response because he was being tortured at the hands of the demons. Well, Mina starts to lose her hope in her and Jonathan's relationship. And at the very saddest moment, she is so consumed by her sadness, bam, she runs into Dracula on the street. But he has changed into a very sexy, alluring, Victorian seductor of a man. He's no longer the sickly, elderly, undead version. He convinces her to go to dinner, and since she had not heard from Jonathan, she agrees to go. Dracula's hypnotic charm was too much for Mina to resist, and she quickly succumbed to him. He put her under his dark spell, and she was in a trance as he says to her, "I have crossed oceans of time to find you." This symbolizes his undying love. Meanwhile, Jonathan finally escapes the castle of the demons and gets word to Mina that he is alive and they are to be married at once. Mina writes to Dracula, addressing him as "my love," saying she's sorry, but she can't see him anymore and she's going to marry Jonathan. This crushes Dracula. But at the time, Dracula has implanted himself into Mina's mind, so much that she knows she's in love with Dracula, but she also loves Jonathan. Well, Dracula tracks down Mina through vampire telepathy and sneaks into her room while she's sleeping, and she awakens. They both decide that he's going to turn her into the undead so she can join him in eternity. But right in the middle, he stops. His desire for her to join him is overpowered by his undying love for her. He has second thoughts because up until he found her, he had lived in eternal darkness of the damned and didn't want that for her. But he had only lived through it all for the possibility of this moment. And he stops because he knows the outcome of her sharing his same fate, his undying love for her. I keep saying undying love because he is undead, and what keeps him alive is his love for her. But then she tells him, take me away from all this death. He bites her and he turns her into a vampire. Jonathan and all Lucy's boyfriends find Mina and hunt Dracula in an effort to save Mina from fully turning into undead. They catch him, and Mina is the one to deliver the final blow to Dracula. Dracula confesses his love one last time, as he knows she will be released from his curse if she's the one to kill him. He asks her to give him peace. She obliges and replies, saying, our love is stronger than death. She chops off his head. Dracula is a love story, not a horror film.